Hello. This one is going to be a very quick one because spring is in the air. My kids are going absolutely nutty, and I want to give you some tips and tricks on how to get them outside, get their wiggles out, but in a way that is all through music education and making those experiences for our students matter, because those are the experiences that they are going to remember, is the ones that were unexpected, the slight surprises that will make their entire day. So if you have the ability to take your students outside, this is what this is going to be. Just a couple things that I have done and things that I want to do with my students to get them outside in this beautiful weather while still experiencing music and learning all the fundamentals of music that I want to teach them. All right, so let's start with a couple things that I have already done. All right, nothing crazy. This is something that, again, when you're outside, you just have a little bit more room. And so it makes this easier to do. Rhythm relay races. I have done this for second grade through eighth grade with my students, especially towards the end of the year when there's just so much pent up energy. I get them outside. I pass different rhythm patterns starting on the sheet. They have to run, grab the rhythm that they know will come next. So say I have a rhythm in front of me that is, let's say for second grade, right? Ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, right? Those are the words written down. They're going to need to run across the field, however long. If they're a really moving class, make it far. All right. But they have to grab that symbol that they know is theirs. So if the first thing is a ta, then they have to run, grab a ta, come back, put it on so that they can build the entire rhythm. It's simple. It's easy. Use some recycled paper so that you're not printing out a ton of stuff. And fair warning, find somewhere that you can stick it down, because there's wind outside and it will be windy. All right. Nature sounds scavenger hunt. This is for your little kids or for your older kids. If it's a nice calm day outside, this is really to get their creativity flowing. How many fundamentals of music, right? Dynamics, articulation, tempo, texture. What can they find outside using their own imagination, using their own creativity? I've done this before. So much fun. All you need is to give them a piece of paper with some basic guidelines and then let them go crazy. Right? Awesome. Solfege hopscotch. This one took me a while to set up. I have a picture of it right over here. Took me a while to set up. I, at that point, had a class. My biggest one was 25, 24 or 25 students. So that being said, I did have to go out very, very early in the morning and write in chalk all of these solfege hopscotch. I even went extra, and because my students were following a colored solfege where do is red, re is orange, and so on and so forth, I also had to change the colors. It took me a really long time. I'm sure somebody else can find an easier way to do this. That being said, I would never regret my decision to do this, because not only did my students just have an absolute ball with it, but I got them singing in a way that was not stressful. The second that you add movement to singing, you take away the stress. I think I've done some professional development sessions on this. So go check the rest of my YouTube videos on how to get your students singing without that tension that a lot of us feel if we're not used to singing in the classroom. All right, solfege hopscotch. Draw whatever solfege you're working on. For my students, this was for my, I want to say third graders. And I did this, so I had to go off all the way from do to do, right? But then this guy over here, let me find, I lost my mouse. There he is. All right, over here, this was my solfege hopscotch. So I made a pattern, and then my students would repeat. So if I jumped from do, re, mi, then my students did the same. Do, re, mi, jumping on one foot. If I went mi, fa, mi, then that is again what they did. I then was able to also take rocks, and each student had a rock and they had to toss it onto one of those, and that's the one they had to stop on, and that's the note they had to hold. We were able to create some really crunchy, beautiful, textured solfege exercises. So fun. Absolutely loved it. Would recommend, if you have the time, do it. It's so fun. It's so fun. Real quick, if you are looking to bring some springtime lessons into your classroom along with these wonderful activities, go ahead and sign up for your free month of the Soaring Scarves Academy, where you have some wonderful springtime lessons like the Very Hungry Caterpillar, the Nest That Robin Built, Bumblebee's Busy Day, and so much more in our full kindergarten through 8th grade curriculum. We also post 3 new lessons every single month on the second Friday. So go ahead and check those out. You can also, while you're there, check out our professional development, over 20 plus hours of PD made for music educators by music educators with relevant topics for us. Not ready to watch hours and hours worth of content? No worries, we got you covered. With our 5-week course, we went ahead and divided these professional development segments into small, easy to understand clips with workbooks for each week. You can also check out our moving assessments, where we gather the data that we know that we need, but in a way that is fun and engaging for our students. You can also check out our pre-recorded movement breaks, a way to bring more movement into your classroom routine in a way that is fun and engaging for your students. And of course, what we are known for, you can check out the Soaring Scarves scarf dances, where we combine classical music and the fundamentals of music. Want to talk about tempo and articulation? Johann Brahms' Hungarian Dance Number 5 is a great way to do that. Either learn with me in a teacher breakdown or have your students follow along in our follow-alongs. All these you can try out for 1 free month, and if you don't love it after a month, no worries, you will not be charged. Simply click the link in the description, scroll on down, and start your free month trial today. Let's get back to the activities. I can't wait to do this again. Outdoor drum circles. It's so easy. I did this with my middle schoolers. Take your drumsticks, take your buckets. All right. If you have access to those, one of my favorite things to do with middle school is to do bucket drumming. Again, I think I might have some YouTube videos on that. I might not. If this is something that you're looking to start with your students, drop in the comments. I will make a video all on how I brought bucket drumming into my school. I used it in a taiko fashion. Taiko is a Japanese style of drumming where you listen first and then you learn to read what you're listening to. It is fantastic. I've done this for the last 4 years now. I have so much success with taiko style bucket drumming, and it's so easy to tell each one of your students, let's go outside, grab your bucket, grab your sticks, right? With all of these, I will say there needs to be high expectations. And what I love about this is outside time for me is when I use an earn, right? An earn is what my students have worked towards for a number of weeks, sometimes months, for something this big where I want to be able to take them outside. My students have to show, right, that they're not talking when I'm talking, that their bodies can stay calm, right? If my students cannot show me these things, I will not trust them to be able for me to take them outside in a safe way. Right. And again, I'm very lucky where my school allows me to use this as an earn. I know some schools that might be a problem with, right? But I was able to use this, and I have used this for the last few years. I have another video that I know is already posted all about how I use my expectations and how I use my earn system. And I love my earn system. Again, I think I've been using this for over 6 years. It is a lifesaver. Go check out that YouTube video. So good. All right. Keep rolling on. This one, it's easy, it's simple, and it's so fun. Give your students a piece of chalk. Play one of Camille Saint-Saëns' songs from Carnival of Animals. Can they guess what animal you are playing in the music? Again, make this engaging, right? Ask them, well, okay, is this animal moving in a legato way or staccato way, right? So is it a hopping animal or a flowing animal? Is it a big animal? Is it dynamically loud? Is it forte or is it really quiet? And is it piano, right? There's so many questions that you can ask to lead them to get along the lines of the correct animals. And then you get to see their wonderful drawings afterwards. Oh my goodness. I know I have some turtles over here. I know I have one student who drew a dragon, and it was a really good dragon. It might be back here. This was after also, I wish I had gotten out there immediately. I didn't. A couple classes had gone by, so it's definitely a little schmoopity. But it was so fun, so easy. All you need is a speaker that you can bring outside with you. So easy, so fun. This was a little scavenger hunt rhythm find that we did where my students had to fill out their each one of these sheets, but they could make it in any way that they could with any natural element that was on the ground, because the last thing that you want is to bring your students out. You think you're having a fun time and they're ripping up the trees and the flowers and things like that. So be careful. Make sure that you have your expectations set high. And then this again, so fun, so simple. I didn't even give them a pencil. I had my own pencil and was just jotting down if they were able to say ti ti tika tika ta ta for all these rhythm patterns. Check. It's so easy. Again, they're having so much fun. They don't even know that you're gathering data. They don't even know that this is an assessment because they get to be outside and they get to have fun. And yeah, no, so easy, so fun. These are a couple others. Feel free to check out for yourself. One that I haven't done but I'm very interested in is conducting the breeze. Right? Can I teach my students basic conducting patterns and then let them flow with the music? Again, it's a little artsy fartsy. We're all music teachers, so why not be a little artsy fartsy? Echo singing in nature. Can they hear those bird sounds and find the pitches? I have done this with fourth grade. And this is only when we had so many birds outside and was hysterical, going from different birds, da 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 da, cuckoo versus and hearing that and it being a call from a crow. So funny. Instrument petting zoo. I've done this for kindergartners, where you're really now at the stage where you're, again, if you've been setting those high expectations and you're trusting your students to know the right way to use the instruments, then it's really, really exciting for them to see all that you have, be able to go over it, try out the maraca, try out the lumi sticks, try out the hand drums, things like that. So fun. Walking music journals. I've done this for fourth grade and fifth grade. So fun, so easy. What rhythm patterns can you hear? Again, you're just allowing their creativity from what you've taught them on the fundamentals of music to go. So fun, so interesting. All right, I think that's all I have. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead, get your students outside, because it means that you also get to go outside. The winter time is over and it is time to feel the beginnings of spring. Thank you so much for following along with us, and happy playing.